Bonsoir, bienvenue au premier conseil de l'année 2021. Welcome to the first council meeting of 2021. I wish all of you a very happy and healthy new year, and with the hopes that it's a much easier one than last year. So with that, we have several updates tonight. There has been, certainly our parks are very busy. Our Summit Woods, the parks are very, very busy. So there's some updates on what's happening there. And also a very important update in terms of when our taxes, the payment of taxes this year, and the delay that is the delay that we will put into place, which you will see on the agenda later, but Councillor Kez will update on that. But there's many, many updates from the council, but I would also just like to note, I know, like you, we are watching with interest the vaccination rollout across the province, and we're pleased that two of our two CHSLDs that are in the city of Westmount, that they have completed their first round of vaccinations, but we anxiously await for our other seniors residences, but also for our general population, obviously. So we will continue to work very closely with the province on that. Obviously, we don't deliver the vaccines as a city, but we will always work with the province, especially as we have these buildings that sit empty, which would be perfect vaccine centers. So we will keep residents updated on that. But our hope is that our community center, Victoria Hall, places like that, the WRC can be used in making sure that vaccines reach everyone in the population as fast as possible. And another update last week, many of you have written to me about this, but we watched with horror as the Shar Hashemayim it was spray painted with swastikas, which was such an unbelievably horrific attack that council joins me in condemning this. Thankfully, we were so thankful that there was not any more, that nobody was physically hurt in this. But I certainly just want to reiterate that I stand with the Shar and the entire Jewish community in condemning this horrific act. So on that note, I will hand it over to, I think Councillor Bostock wanted to give some updates on public security issues that have gone on over the past couple of weeks.
So just as Mayor Smith mentioned, the Summit Woods is definitely an oasis in the city, and a place where lots of people are gathering to walk their dogs and go for a walk. Just the friendly reminder that although it's being used by a lot of people right now, that it's not a place for people to congregate. It is a place to walk and get some exercise. So please remember that keeping your 2-meter distance, not meeting in large groups and blocking pathways for people, respect the parking rules and regulations in the area. And if you can't maintain a 2 meters distance, that we encourage you to wear a mask. And then on a positive note, just before the new year, our public security department reached out to our most vulnerable seniors, and were able to drop off calla lily growing kits. And they dropped these off and were incredibly well received by some of our really isolated seniors, and we've received some positive feedback from people saying that they have started sprouting, and it's something that's been able to lift their spirits, and something that I'm really proud of our public security department for being able to do that this year. So that's my update for today, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cutler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And certainly echo your comments and sentiments around the attack on the Shar. I mean, I don't have words. It's unacceptable. It's disappointing that something like that happens in our community. Obviously, we stand with the Shar, but anytime this type of thing happens, you're reminded of what's out there, and it's really sad. It's really disappointing. And anyway, I say that on today being Blue Monday, which is supposed to be the saddest day of the year. But hopefully, if you're tuning into this meeting this evening, the Westmount City Council will bring you a little bit of light in a dark time. But I have a couple updates. First, snow removal. As you probably realized, we're undergoing operation right now. Something that we've decided to do, and we're starting to do going forward, we'll be removing the sirens when to remind people to move their cars when there's a snow removal operation. These are highly irritating, especially for everybody who's working from home, which is the majority of us at this point. We've decided not to do that. So be aware, be mindful when there is a snowfall and there's going to be a snow removal operation. Watch the signs, keep an eye out on those signs. Move your car, please, because we're not going to be putting those sirens on any longer. I think this is in the best interest of everybody, but we do want to be. We just want to make sure everyone does look outside and is aware of what the timing is. We're doing our best. Obviously, there have been some concerns around the parking related to snow removal. I think in the past people were heading to the office. There were some more options for where people could leave their vehicles. Right now it's tough. Where we hear those complaints, we're very aware of them. We're doing our best to try and mitigate this as best as possible. So bear with us. That said, so far the feedback on our snow removal operations this year have been fantastic, and shout out to Public Works for their hard work. We knew this would be difficult given the pandemic, the different teams, all of that. I talked about this back in September and October. It's here now, and I'm proud of their work so far, and hopefully we can keep it up and clear our city. I think we take pride in getting it done before some of our neighbors, and that's something that our team works really hard at, being efficient, but are definitely mindful of the fact now that with the sometimes we're doing both sides of the street in a 12-hour span. It may not leave many options where people can park. This is not deliberate. We're not trying to inconvenience people. We're trying to get the snow removed as quickly as possible, and we're doing the best we can to try and find some resolutions to that. So stay tuned. The city will continue to communicate all of this as they have done through our social media as well as on the website. So try to keep yourself posted, and reading those updates through our social media and the website. So that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shammy, any update? No. Councillor Peart, I don't think you had anything. Councillor Brushke.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just a very brief update. First, I echo Councillor Cutler's and Mayor Smith's comments about the incident at the Shar. It took me by great shock and sadness, this incident, and there's just no room for hate speech in our community. So my thoughts are with everyone, and let's multiply our love and compassion by 10 and make sure that that our communication lines are healthy and encouraging. With respect to other little updates, the tree collection, the Christmas tree collection is going well. Our last collection is this Wednesday. We've collected up to 598 Christmas trees, soon to be turned into mulch or reused in another way. If anyone does have questions, and I've had some questions whether having a natural tree is better than a plastic tree that's reusable, etc., you can find a lot more information on the website of treecanada.com to find this. But rest assured, our trees are being reused. Then some more local update. I know that sometimes, the Groupe Maurice project has raised some eyebrows. People have heard the noise coming from the construction that's going on the MDG side. And more recently, there is a portion of the city of Westmount used for storage of the trailers by the Groupe Maurice contractor. I think in this situation when some residents are obviously living through a construction phase, more information is better than less. So I just wanted to update residents to let them know that the traffic plan is going to be discussed at the Traffic Advisory Committee meeting at the next agenda. And we are doing everything we can to ensure that residents are least impacted by the construction going on at this site. You will notice that there are some more trailers that were installed. Like everyone, COVID has impacted on operations. And so we were told that the reason they need to comply with the distancing required them to add some additional trailers. So as always, when I receive more information, I will make sure to use this channel and other channels to communicate to residents, and Groupe Maurice communicates with Westmount residents. So we encourage everyone who has questions or is impacted by the construction to contact them directly. And that sort of covers it for my update this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Breshke. Councillor Gallery.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. I too, with all of council, condemn the events that took place at the Shar this past week. It's very upsetting, and to know that that took place in our community, and our thoughts are with the entire Jewish population, and it just should never have happened. In any case, we'll move on to my updates, and I have quite a few this evening. With the Premier's announcement on January 6th, allowing libraries to open for students to give them access to internet, we were not prepared for that. We are working very hard to make this possible, and at the moment we're reviewing all the scenarios to keep it as safe as possible to all the students that we will eventually be letting in. Please stay tuned. We will be keeping you posted as this evolves, but at the moment we do not have a precise time and date for this. Secondly, I want to constantly remind you to check the city's website, the library website, for the online events that we're offering and the online workshops. We have a virtual quiz night coming up, which is always fun and usually sold out. I'd also like to announce a new event that we're launching at the end of the month on January 28th. And it's called Fireside Chats with Mitch Joel, one of our own residents, who will be interviewing well-known or interesting Westmounters or people who have businesses in Westmount. So we're excited to kick that off, and you can look on the website to see who our first guest will be. Also, with regard to sports and rec, with the latest announcement from the Premier, as you all know, we did close the general skating and puck activities, stick and puck activities in the WRC. That will remain as such until February 8th, when we will hear back from the Premier with what comes next. Certain schools will be allowed to rent the space for school activities alone. And the reservation system has been disabled and the website has been up to date. So again, please check our website as things evolve. Lastly, we have outdoor rinks also have been limited to general skating, so there'll be no hockey. I know you know this. We hope it can change in February while there's still winter and good ice. Lastly, the toboggan runs, as you may have seen, have been modified to be safer. There are now 3 lanes going down, and there's more of a traffic flow that's a bit safer for everyone. And they've been a huge success. I want to continue to thank our residents and non-residents for being mindful of social distancing and keeping it safe for everyone. We're doing our part, and public security is doing its best with crowd control. So work with us, be smart, wear a mask, keep your distances, and let's try and keep the outdoor activities as safe and lively and fun as possible. So thank you. That's it for me tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Gallery. Councillor Wellham.
So under item 9, I'll be reading a notice of motion and adoption of a first draft regarding restaurants. So I wanted to give a little background on this. Originally in 2010 and 2011, there was a great fear of fast food restaurants moving into our commercial districts. And so zoning bylaw restrictions were adopted at that time, it was believed that restaurants, fast food restaurants needed large places. So a size restriction was put on in some areas. In other areas, there was a table service requirement put on. So last December, 2019, December 3rd to 17th, we did a commercial street survey and 737 people responded. And one of the questions was regarding restaurants. And 80% of the respondents agreed that regulation should allow more restaurants in all our commercial sectors. So tonight we will be first abolishing the restriction on the number of restaurants in both commercial sectors. We will remove the maximum area restrictions again. This is predominantly in the Sherbrooke Street area and Victoria. And in the green area, we will be removing the restriction that for only table service. Now there are many high-end restaurants that don't have table service, that work in a sort of cafeteria mode or whatever. We see now that fast food restaurants adapt to small places. If you go into many of the new A&Ws and the like, they're in small locales. So these bylaws aren't serving any purpose other than to perhaps not attract renters for some of our larger areas that we have in both commercial areas and districts. So to help our merchants, to help our merchant areas, and to hopefully help rent out some of these places, we want to encourage some more restaurants. And so that's why we'll be doing these amendments, the first draft tonight. It will take several months. There's a second reading, and there'll also be a public consultation phase. That will be a write-in phase because we can't have meetings due to COVID. So I'm very excited about that, and I hope that this helps to revitalize our commercial districts.
Thank you very much. And just on that note, to the Urban Planning Committee that reviewed this, and this has been very has been researched and discussed at length. And a city is not static, so we have to evolve, and our commercial sectors need to evolve with it. So we're hoping that this is a great benefit to both commercial areas. So thank you for the explanation on that, and we'll see that moved later on in the agenda. And Councillor Kez has an update.
Yeah, good evening, and wishing everyone a very happy new year. I just wanted to let everyone know that Montreal is allowing demerged cities to postpone the payment of their share of the AGLO for 3 months. And because of this, we are able to afford our citizens the same delay in payment of municipal taxes. And as a result, the first installment will be due May 27th, as opposed to the original date of February 23rd. So that's a 3-month postponement. And the second installment will be postponed from May 25th to August 26th. And I will be passing a motion regarding this later on in the evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that update. And all the details on that will obviously be in the tax letter that you'll be receiving soon, but also on our website. You'll be able to find more details on that. And so before we go into the first question period, I just want to close on the note that in terms of reports, is that like citizens, this phase, we are in 10 months. We have hit the 10-month mark of this pandemic, and we have worked really hard to make sure that we can make as many activities outside available to our citizens, as safe as possible. Our goal from the very beginning, from March 12th, certainly my goal, and council shares it with me, was to keep our parks and our public spaces as open and as accessible as possible. We know that they are so integral in people's mental health, but also their physical health. And so on that note, and then we've worked, I think we've seen I went around to all the rinks and to see them full of skaters, especially, skaters that might not have typically used our facilities before. is incredible to see, and we hope that that continues. We hope that that is not just a pandemic thing, but we really need to adhere to the guidelines put out by public health. We want to continue to be able to enjoy those. I think the rink, the refrigerated rink in Westmount Park with its lighting, we hope that when curfew is lifted, which we hope is soon, that people can continue to skate at night there. The lights are fantastic. And the toboggan run, we need to work with people on that for it to be as safe as possible. I'm sure many have seen the media reports about accidents on toboggan runs, and so we would ask the kids that are using the toboggan runs, but also the parents for their help in that. But our goal collectively as council, we have all worked towards the same goal, which is to make these activities as accessible as possible. So if you have ideas, if you have suggestions for improvement, we want to hear them. And we really need the public to engage on this. And so when we get complaints about Summit Woods and things like that, we really just ask you to space out, to not gather up there. It's very, very important. But we know it's tough. I mean, it's tough on every demographic. It's tough on the people that live at home alone. It's tough on seniors. It's difficult on kids. Many of them have gone back to school, but they've gone back to school with the high school students went back today, but with high anxiety. So it's we're in the, I don't want to say the home stretch because I feel like that would jinx it, but we do see a light at the end of the tunnel. We absolutely commit to working with the provincial government to giving over any facilities that we can that would make sense in helping for the vaccine rollout. And we will continue to update on all our social media platforms and the website any changes. And I know the curfew brought about a lot of concern for the homeless population, and especially around Cabot Square. And I have certainly voiced my concerns about a one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to how the SPVM are dealing with the home. And I'm glad to see some changes have been made on that in terms of fining citizens and whatnot. So continue to look for our updates on social media, and we truly want to hear any feedback you have on with any ideas, and we hope to bring more things to our parks and our public spaces throughout the winter. So stay tuned on that. So if there are no further updates, we will move into the first question period. The city clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll start. Our first question today was from Dennis Bureau, and his question is as follows. A few days ago, the Gazette reported on the difficulties in setting up a province-wide COVID vaccination plan, particularly for seniors. A rapid vaccination effort is particularly important to residents here, as there are likely several thousand independent seniors 70 years of age and over residing in Westmount. During the first wave, the city created a successful outreach program to contact senior Westmount residents directly with regard to their needs. We are very appreciative. Following on that success, would our mayor and council consider working with the Quebec health authorities to set up a seniors contact process to arrange appointments and also provide a site for vaccinations when they are made available?
Thank you for the question, and timely, as we were just discussing. Absolutely, we will work closely. We have a weekly call with the provincial government, but we also have a call with Dr. Rosenberg with the Séance, who hosts a call, and we absolutely commit. And I'm sure I know council is 100% supportive of that, as are the other mayors across the province, that all three levels of government need to work together on this one. The federal government procures the vaccines, the provincial government gives them out, but we absolutely have a role to play in this in terms of we have buildings that are not being used right now. So yes, we will commit to work to continue to work with the provincial government on this. And I will share your comment and question, Mr. Bureau, with Jennifer Macron, just so that she is aware of it as well. But it's a very important question, because I think we've all been able to see the details of how the CHSLDs and the private care homes are going to work and how healthcare workers are vaccinated in the hospitals. But I think there's a lot of uncertainty and anxiety about how the next phase will roll out. So I hope that answers some of your concerns. And if we have any updates, we will absolutely share them right away. So thank you for the question.
Okay, our next question is from Fred Gervin. And his question is, Mayor Smith and councillors, the rainstorm of July 8th, 2020 flooded streets, businesses, and homes. Public Works Engineering Department shortly after began a study of the event, computer modeling. When will the study be released?
Thank you very much for your question. It is that they are, I think they're continuing to work on that, but it is any document like that, Mr. Gervin would have to go through access to information, which the city clerk's office could certainly walk him through. But just so that we're clear, it is not, the modeling that they're doing is not just for one specific house or address. This was a citywide initiative. So I don't know if the Director General wants to add anything to that.
Yeah, well, I can just add a bit briefly, as Mayor Smith, as you mentioned, this is there's a study going on with the overall wastewater flow study. There's a flow study going on by professional services, and it's to help out our engineering team in terms of modelize and set priorities for the capital works over the next few years and where the priorities are. So this is a big study going on right now, and it also involves the City of Montreal, because some of the sewers are actually shared with the City of Montreal in our old network. So again, this is a very complex and very technical study that is basically managed by our experts in water engineering and in the engineering department. So again, yes, we're doing that study, but this is not specific to one house whatsoever. It's the overall, it's a flow for the overall city.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question.
Next question is from Daniel Lambert. And his question is, this one is more of a comment. He has a second question to follow. During winter, it is important that sidewalks be clean and safe for morning rush hour so residents can safely walk, whether to work or school, to run errands, or simply get fresh air and exercise. When snow on sidewalks gets packed down by pedestrians, it becomes slippery and unsafe. Compacted snow is also more difficult to clean. So we thank the city for cleaning sidewalks at night so they will be safe for residents in the morning. We also thank council and the administration for their extraordinary effort during COVID.
So is that the question? That's the commentary question. Thank you for your feedback, Mr. Lambert. It's always appreciated in terms of being an extra set of eyes on the street, especially one who really has a lot of feedback on pedestrian safety as well, and not just cycling, but also on pedestrian safety. And yeah, it's always a challenge, but I guess I would just caution. So we are clearing at night, and the goal is, yes, so that people can walk, especially kids walking to school, that people can use the sidewalk safely. I would, I think at every opportunity, I would remind people that contractors or people shoveling their snow, once the sidewalk has been cleared, do not dump your driveway snow onto the sidewalk. It makes it impassable for anyone with mobility issues, for people pushing strollers. So I'd ask residents, if you have a contractor that is clearing your driveway, to remind them of that. And then also we have cleared it. So today it was, maybe hard to see, but sometimes there is a thin layer of ice. So just a reminder that people have to be very cautious at times when they're walking in the winter, but we will continue to do our utmost to make sure the sidewalks and streets are cleared as fast as possible. And the night clearing really helps with us being able to get people out safely in the mornings. Does anyone else want to add to that? No? Okay. Next, is there I think you said there is a part 2 to this question.
Yeah, so we received a question, second to what was just received from Mr. Lambert. And this is, his question here is as follows. The Maisonneuve is by far the most popular route for Westmount residents walking to Green Avenue, Alexis Neon, or downtown during COVID. Many are able to walk in the bike path or the driving lane to social distance because traffic volume is low. Unfortunately, that popular route will be closed this summer between Melville and Clark to replace the water pipe running down the middle of the street. To provide residents with an alternative, safe walking route, we ask that a pedestrian corridor be created along the south side of Sherbrooke by removing a driving lane or a parking lane.
Thank you for your suggestions. Yeah, de Maisonneuve is busy with people. It's definitely a very popular walking route, and it is a challenge in terms of on sidewalks when people are trying to distance. But I'll certainly take your suggestion of. I'm not sure about Sherbrooke is a ways from de Maisonneuve, but we'll bring it to the TAC and we'll try and come up with some creative solutions to make sure that pedestrians can get around safely when we do this, when the work on de Maisonneuve, which is done as you know, with Montreal on the water network this summer. So we will see what continue to work on creative solutions to prioritizing pedestrians in that area. Does anyone else want to add anything to that? No? Okay. And any further questions? Have any more questions come in?
That's all for our first question period.
Okay, thank you. So now we move to item number 4, l'adoption de l'ordre du jour. Councillor Pert.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the agenda of the regular council sitting of January 18th, 2021 be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Breschke, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Confirmation of minutes. Again, Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the minutes of the regular and special council sittings held on December 21st of 2020 be approved.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder on that item? Councillor Shammy, all in favor? Carried. Item number 6, reports to council. There are no reports tabled for correspondence. Item 6.2, Councillor Peart.
The minutes of the General Committee meeting of council held on December 7th, 2020 are tabled and are available on the city's website.
Thank you. Item 6.3, there are no reports to be tabled for the Finance and Administration Committee. Item 6.4, Councillor Bostock.
The minutes of the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting held on November 17th, 2020 are tabled and available on the city's website.
Thank you. 6.5, Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The workforce report for the month of November 2020 is now tabled.
Thank you. Councillor Kez, 6.6.
Yeah, the list of payments for the month of November 2020 is tabled.
Thank you. 6.7, Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In accordance with bylaw 1507 on the delegation of powers to certain employees of the city of Westmount, the list of authorization of expenditures for the month of November 2020 is now tabled.
Thank you very much. Item number 7, numéro 7, orientation du conseil sur les sujets devant être présentés au conseil d'agglomération de Montréal. Councillor Peart.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je propose que la mairesse ou, en son absence, le maire suppléant soit autorisé à prendre toute décision qu'elle jugera opportune à l'égard des sujets inscrits à l'ordre du jour de la séance du conseil d'agglomération de Montréal devant se tenir le 28 janvier 2021 et ce, dans le meilleur intérêt de la ville de Westmount et de ses résidents.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que j'ai un appuyeur? Thank you. Councillor Gallery, all in favor? Carried. Item number 8, modification of a resolution, terms and conditions for the payment of the government contribution under the gas tax and Quebec contribution program, that as known as the TEC program, for the years 2019 to 2023. Councillor Cutler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For this resolution, I'm going to read the whereases. So bear with
yes,
me.
that makes sense.
Whereas the City of Westmount has examined the guide relative aux modalités de versement de la contribution gouvernementale dans le cadre du programme de la taxe de l'essence et de la contribution du Québec, TEC, pour les années 2019 à 2023. Whereas the city must comply with the terms and conditions of this guide that apply to its situation in order to receive the governmental financial assistance, which was confirmed in a letter from the Ministère des Affaires Municipales et de l'Habitation. Mayor, I move that the City of Westmount commit to complying with the terms and conditions of the guide that apply in this case, and that the City of Westmount commit to being the sole body in charge and to release the Government of Canada and the Government of Quebec, as well as their ministers, senior officials, employees, and agents of any responsibility relating to the claims, requirements, losses, damages, and costs of any kind based on an injury inflicted to a person, the death of this person, any damages done to property, or the loss of property attributable to a deliberate or careless act ensuing directly or indirectly from investments made through the financial assistance obtained under the 2019 to 2023 TEC program. The City of Westmount approved the content and authorized the transmission of the Schedule of Works version number 1 attached to the Ministère de l'Affaires Municipales et de l'Habitation and to all the documents required by the Ministère in order to receive the government contribution, which was confirmed in a letter of la Ministère des Affaires Municipales et de l'Habitation. That the City of Westmount commit to achieving the minimum capital work imposed for all 5 years of the program. That the City of Westmount commit to informing the Ministère des Affaires Municipales et de l'Habitation of any modification made to the Schedule of Works approved under the present resolution. That the City of Westmount hereby certify that as per this resolution, the Schedule of Work version number 1 attached herewith includes the true expenditures incurred.
Thank you, Councillor Cutler. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Shammy, do you have any further comments on that?
We just needed to make some clarifications and modifications to the earlier adopted resolution.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 9, Councillor Lulham, notice of motion and adoption of a first draft bylaw 1568 to further amend zoning bylaw 1303, zone C5-20-01, C5-20-02, C5-20-03, C5-20-04, C5-20-05, C5-21-07, C5-24-12, and C5-24-14 restaurants.
To give notice of motion of the intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1568 entitled bylaw 1568 to further amend zoning bylaw 1303, zone C5-2001, C5-2002, C5-2003, C5-2004, C5-2005, C5-2107, C5-2412, and C5-2414 restaurants. The object of this bylaw is to amend the tables of permitted building types and uses attached to the zoning bylaw 1303 to remove the maximum area requirements and the requirement to serve at tables. The object of this bylaw is also to abolish the restriction on the number of restaurants permitted in zones C5-2001, C5-2002, C5-2003, C5-2004, C5-2005, C5-2107, C5-2412, and C5-2414. I move that the first draft bylaw number 1568, entitled Bylaw 1568 to further amend zoning bylaws 1303, zone C5-2001, C5-2002, C5-2003, C5-2004, C5-2005, C5-2107, C5-2412, and C5-2414 restaurants be adopted for submission to public consultation in accordance with the provisions of the Act respecting land use planning and development, CQLR Chapter A-19.1, and that in accordance with the Order 2020-033, the public consultation meeting be replaced by a 15-day written consultation announced in advance by public notice.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you very much, Councillor Lulham. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Peart. Any further comments on this or clarifications in terms of how residents can engage in this process?
It's my understanding from the timeline that we will be looking at the first 2 weeks of February to be doing the consultation, but it'll be announced in the papers and on all of our sites.
Okay, thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Again, Councillor Lulham, approval of a system of bid waiting and evaluating call for tenders, purchase of street furniture. Councillor Lulham.
Yes. Whereas according to section, actually I won't do the whereases because I can explain it after. I move that the city adopt the attached system of bid weighing and evaluating for a call for tenders relating to the purchase of street furniture. That said system of bid weighing and evaluation be used for all calls for tenders for the purchase of street furniture unless otherwise specified by way of resolution of council. That said system of bid weighing and evaluation be valid for the year 2021.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this, Councillor Breschke. Any further comments, Councillor Lulham, on clarification?
So, yeah, this is to create a bid weighing evaluation form to go with when we're going out for tenders, when we want to purchase street furniture. This will be included in those tenders. It's just in preparation ahead of. So that's what this is. This is for benches, garbage cans, anything that goes on our city streets.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Item 11, urban planning approval of building permits. Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. I'll dispense with the whereases since we see them every time. I move that according to the recommendations made by the Planning Advisory Committee at its meeting held on January 12th, 2021, the building permit applications appearing on the attached list reviewed under bylaw 1305 on site planning and architectural integration programs be approved.
Thank you very much. And a seconder on that, Councillor Lulham. There's not very many permits on this list this week.
Given the holiday season, the list is short, mostly doors and windows. There is a small, at Westmount High School, there is a door and window project, which will be quite nice when it's complete.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess it's an opportune time to remind people if they have projects for the spring that it's better if they are able to submit early, as it gets busier over the coming months.
Indeed.
All in favor? Carried. And item number 12 under new business 12.1, notice of motion bylaw 1567 to amend bylaw 1566 to impose and levy a tax and compensation for the 2021 fiscal year. Councillor Kez.
Yes, I give notice of the intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1567 entitled bylaw to amend bylaw 1566 to impose and levy a tax and compensation for the 2021 fiscal year. The object of this bylaw is to postpone the latest dates on which the payments of property taxes and compensation for the municipal services may be made. A copy of the draft bylaw is tabled and available for consultation.
Thank you very much. And you had addressed this earlier in your
Yes.
comments, is that with being allowed to delay the agglomeration payment, we are able to delay our taxes by 3 months. And so we hope that we know that this has been a difficult year for many, and we hope that this gives those that need it some relief.
Yeah.
So we do not need to vote on that. And I would now ask the city clerk if are there any more questions that have come in?
Do my final refresh just to make sure. We have no questions received for our second question period.
Okay, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing everybody at the beginning of February. The meeting is adjourned.